In the Walking Dead universe, the concept of a zombie does not exist. And I didn't have a problem buying that in the series Walking Dead, but in Fear the Walking Dead, I do have a little bit of an issue with it. And that's because of Tobias. I know there's people who follow the whole apocalypse stuff and all that, you know, I get that, but he's coming across as the kid that would have read all the graphic novels and have seen all the movies and have played all the video games. And that would make sense then, because why else would a high school student jump to worst case scenario when all there is to go on is just a little bit of little bits of information that have leaked to the public. Tobias tries to smuggle into school that little small paring knife because he doesn't feel safe and he feels like he needs a weapon because of the things that are happening in the world. 5 states. And he's telling this to Maddie, who is also the guidance counselor. And he also breaks it all down for Maddie too, like as clockwork. Again, he's got a blueprint he's basing this off of. Well, Maddie, of course, confiscates the knife and locks it away. But regardless as to how Tobias knows everything that he knows, I am guessing that we're supposed to think that this is the guy that's going to make it to the end of this thing because he knows his apocalyptic shit. Well, I don't. And that's because when he runs back into Maddie at school, okay, so Nick is starting to go through withdrawal symptoms, and Maddie, being a recovering drug addict, although I don't think they ever said that, but that was obviously what was implied, she knows that it's dangerous for him to go cold turkey. She can't get hold of a doctor, so she goes back to the school, which is closed now, of course. She goes back to get the confiscated drug out of a police locker. While she's there, she runs into Tobias, and because Tobias, I'm guessing, has jimmied the door and got his way inside. He is smart enough to know that the food in the cafeteria is full of preservatives, and it's going to last a long time. So this would be the best opportunity for him to get back into the school and get the supplies that he needs. So when Tobias sees Maddie, he asks her if he can have his knife back. I first took that tongue in cheek because I thought he was meaning more like, oh, now you see what I'm saying, don't you? You see how bad things are getting. But no, in the next scene, they're in Maddie's office and she's actually getting the knife out for him. Was this little knife the only piece of cutlery in his whole house? I don't get that. At all, really. So this kid who brought this knife to school because he was scared and he had been saying there was safety in numbers and all that, he actually has now gone back to the deserted school without a weapon at all. And if he hadn't run into Maddie and he had run into Artie later, what would he have done then? Start taking those cans of food and just start nailing them with it? But okay, now he's got his little paring knife. He's safe, whatever. Now, one thing I noticed that I didn't really understand is why when Tobias asked Maddie, have you seen one of them yet? She said no. Why would you lie and say you haven't seen one yet? At least give him a heads up of what happens when you do run across one of them. And here's the thing, he didn't know that Maddie was going to be at the school. Luckily she was, because she was able to help him get into the storage locker where the food is. And she also helps him load it all into the cart and wheel it down through the hall. They go by the room with the intercom speaker stuff and they can hear that there's actually a zombie in the school with them. So they know they need to get out really quickly. They are running down the hall with the food supplies. But the food is important enough to Tobias that when one can falls off, he actually runs back to get it. Maddie's like, leave it, leave it, leave it. They go through these double set of doors and Maddie sees Artie, the principal, shuffling down the hallway. She calls out to Artie because, you know, she hadn't already seen this before. Artie turns around and he's got the same look in his face that Calvin did on his. Tobias had yet to even see one of these zombies. He's smart enough to know that we need to go. And that doesn't mean go towards the zombie. Maddie, dumbass Maddie, she sees Artie looking exactly like Calvin did in the face, doing that whole gurgling thing and the dead eyes and all that, coming towards her, and Maddie's going, oh, you're not feeling well, Artie, we're gonna get you some help, and going up to him. And it's like, oh my God, let him kill her because she's an idiot. And now she is putting Tobias's life in danger because he's going to have to try to protect her, which he does with that paring knife. Lucky for both of them that he ran into Maddie and was able to get his only weapon back. Tobias is now on the ground, struggling with Artie, trying to kill him. Freaking Maddie is standing there going, huh? Oh my God, I wanted to smack her. Finally, she breaks through whatever kind of stupid crap is going on in her head, and she gets the fire extinguisher and starts bashing Artie's brains in. Took her long enough, and it almost cost Tobias his life,